Fact of the day.
Fact of the day.
Hello there, welcome to Fact of the Day with me, Lotsu. So today I'm going to be talking about toxin, and there's a whole range of stuff I want to talk about with toxins with you. So let's get into it. First of all, what is a toxin? Well, a toxin is anything that's harmful to the body in small amounts. So you only need tiny amounts of it in order for it to be harmful to the body. And there are two main groups of toxins. You've got poisons and you've got venoms. So poison is anything that is harmful to you when you ingest it, inhale it, or you absorb it through your skin. So any of those in which poisons are harmful for you. Venoms is anything that is harmful for you and it gets into your body through wounds. So, punctures, stabs, quills, spines, spikes, any of those things are venoms. And I'll talk about some venomous animals. So the first one of these is a cone snail. I don't know if you've ever heard of a cone snail before, but cone snails live in the ocean. And what cone snails do is they've got this ridiculous tongue, and this ridiculous tongue is like a harpoon, and it shoots out and stabs into fish and injects that venom into fish. And when it injects the venom into fish, you're talking about 3,000 toxins being injected into the fish. And this all obviously kills the fish, and then the cone snail can eat it. Next, I want to talk about these things called parasitoid wasps. Now, parasitoid wasps, these are wasps that obviously are parasites on other organisms. So you have certain types of wasps, and one type of wasp, it'll fly around, look for a caterpillar, land on the caterpillar, thanks Gemma, land on the caterpillar, and then it'll inject a larvae into the caterpillar, and then the larvae eats the body of the caterpillar. So there's another one called the emerald cockroach wasp. And if you haven't guessed it, the emerald cockroach wasp is a wasp that flies around, finds a cockroach. The emerald cockroach wasp, it lands on the cockroach and it injects the venom into the cockroach. And when it injects the venom into the cockroach, what this causes is the cockroach becomes paralyzed. Then, this injects into the body. Then, the wasp goes up to the head of the cockroach. It stabs its stinger into the head, searches around a bit for these things called ganglia, which is like, search around for these things called ganglia in the head of which is kind of like the brain of the cockroach, and injects the venom into these ganglia. And what it does is it stops or reduces the transmission of messages from the motor parts of the cockroach to the brain. So it kind of inhibits the motor activity of the cockroach. That means, when you see a cockroach and you go to get it and it just quickly runs away, it doesn't do that in this situation because the wasp has injected the venom into the head of the cockroach. So then what happens is the venom, the paralysis wears off in the cockroach's actual body, and the wasp literally gets the antennae of the cockroach, then it leads it down this little tunnel, injects into its body its egg, which develops into a larvae, and then this larvae eats the cockroach from the inside out. And once it's eaten the entire cockroach, then the larvae pupates into an actual wasp and then flies off, and the whole cycle repeats again. Next, I want to talk about snakes. So two big snakes that we're going to talk about. One is the pit viper, and what a pit viper does is the pit viper finds its prey, sticks its fangs into the prey, and what it does is it reduces the blood pressure of the prey. So much so that the prey can't escape, can't run away, and it basically dies from exhaustion because the blood pressure reduced so much. Now, I know me, I know you, a lot of people at times can have really high blood pressure. So what do we want? We want something that's going to reduce our blood pressure. Do we want pit viper venom? Yeah, of course, because that'd be really good. But the pit viper's got thousands of other toxins in there as well, so we want to extract the one key compound which reduces blood pressure, and we want to dilute it a bit. If you've got really high blood pressure and you have the pit viper venom, then it reduces your blood pressure. These venoms are being used in medicine. Next, you've got the cobra, and the cobra causes paralysis. So it sticks its fangs into its prey, and it causes complete paralysis of the body, which leads to the lungs obviously being paralyzed as well, and it simply starves of oxygen. It can't breathe anymore. How do we get the antidotes to these venoms? Well, what happens is this. So what used to happen is, and it still does really, because it's the only way that we can get the antivenoms to this, you get venom and you inject it into an organism which has a good immune system. It has an adaptive immune system, it's called. So if you inject the venom into an organism, the organism produces these things called antibodies. Now we have antibodies, and the antibodies are used by us to protect us against disease. It helps to fight pathogens, bacteria and viruses. So when we get ill from bacteria and viruses, it's our antibodies that protect us. When you inject the venom into another organism, it creates these antibodies. What we then do is we take the antibodies out of the organism, and when we take the antibodies out of the organism, we can then use those as an anti-venom. Some people actually inject themselves with snake venom, and they do that, start off with small doses to build up a resistance, and the more and more they inject themselves with snake venom, the more of a resistance they can build up to. And the last of these organisms are called jellies, so box jellies, which we know as jellyfish. Now box jellies are amazing. So you have large box jellies, which are about the size of a basketball, and you've got small box jellies, which are about the size of the head of a matchstick. That's how tiny they are. Now both of them do the same thing. And this is where I said about should you wee on a jellyfish thing. Just think about that for a second. So box jellies, when they have these things called nematocytes. So nematocytes are these tiny things inside cells, and when you come in contact with them, it shoots like a harpoon. This is the fastest moving natural object in the world, as fast as a bullet. These nematocytes shoot out as fast as a bullet into your cells of your body, and they release a toxin called porphyrin. What it does, think of it like a shotgun shell. So you know how a shotgun shell works. It fires out and it shreds anything it hits. Porphyrin shreds your red blood cells, completely shreds them to bits, and releases loads of potassium into your blood. And the potassium interrupts your heart and causes your heart to stop. So your heart stops after a period of time. Now, if it's a large box jellyfish, this can be after 5 minutes. Smaller box jellyfish, this can take effect over a couple of days. What do you do to combat this? So here's what you do. If you wee, so when you get these tentacles, the jellyfish tentacles on your arm, if you wee on them, all you're doing is you're adding pressure, which causes more of the nematocysts to shoot into your skin, which obviously causes more venom to get into your blood, which obviously is not going to be good for you. Some people say you pack sand on it. So if you put sand, again, any physical contact with these causes more to shoot into your skin and more venom to get into your blood. So we don't want that. So what do we do? Here's what you do. And if you're going to go somewhere where there's jellies, you want to take some of this with you. Get some vinegar, because what vinegar does is it fixes the nematocysts. So when we say it fixes them, that means that they can't shoot out. So you pour vinegar over the tentacles, and then you simply pull them off. Because by pouring vinegar on, you're making sure no more nematocysts can shoot in, and then you pull them off, okay? So that's how you combat them. Poison arrow frogs is a great example of poison, because as I said with this, so they are the only animal that is mentioned in this video that's got poison, and I'm heading off after this. So with the poison arrow frog, all you need to do is touch it, literally touch it onto your skin, and the poison is absorbed into your skin. A lot of different people, different tribes actually dip the tips of their arrows into the poison arrow frog's skin so then when they kill animals, it gets stabbed into animals, and then the animals die because of the poison that goes into the animals. Okay, that's it from me. See you later. Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. Love you.